Hello, good evening, and welcome back. COVID-19 Pfizer BioNTech vaccine judged safe for use in the UK from next week. First three things to get out of the way are all people and frontline staff get it first. It is not going to be mandatory, apparently, or at least not yet, and it will take until Easter to get back to normal, but next summer should be okay, apparently. But let's get into more detail. So, the UK has become the first country in the world to approve the Pfizer BioNTech coronavirus vaccine, paving the way for mass vaccination. Britain's medicines regulator, the MHRA, says the jab, which offers up to 95% protection against COVID-19 illness, is safe to be rolled out. And they say that the side effects, they're very mild, as you would get with any vaccine really, and they normally only last a day or two. So, hang on, your side effects from your vaccines are coronavirus symptoms, and yours is 95% effective. Doesn't really seem to be much of an issue. In fact, fun little fact here. Given that the testing's done and what is acceptable for a vaccine, that if their vaccinations were just coronavirus, they could quite easily get it certified and safe and pass. Because of course the people that you're experimenting on need to be healthy, and they're the ones that survive coronavirus anyway. Quite a few, of course, are asymptomatic, and the symptoms are quite mild. So what you could do, if you wanted to rush through a vaccine and have it to be safe, is you just say, well, okay, coronavirus, that's safe, so our vaccine will just be infecting people with coronavirus. Perfect. And it will work because then you've had the virus and then you're protected against it. So not an issue. So okay, but but then people are going to be thinking, well, then we don't need to take it. Okay, then how about we just say, oh, you don't have the antibodies. If you don't have the vaccine, you're going to get it again. So well, then will the vaccine work? Yeah, because you're going to be infected 3 weeks later in order to be protected. That's like, okay. Wouldn't you get that if you're just out and about though? Yeah, you would. So why are we doing this again? And if you want to be that cynical, as I say, that's not what's happened. I'm just saying that it's what could happen. That if you want to be that cynical, it's like, okay, well, government made a mistake, but they don't want to lose face. In which case, how can they still make it seem like they're doing something worthwhile? Well, they have to come out with something. They can't just say, yeah, we were wrong, we're going to cancel it all now. They've got to say, oh, we were definitely right, and here's a cure. Yes, the government is the good thing, don't you know? We're not removing your freedoms. No, of course not. It's this foreign virus that we can't say it's foreign. No, or we can say it's not from us, but we can't tell you the name of the country of where it's from, because that's racist and xenophobic and xenophobic, apparently. But yes, it's that's the problem. And then we're the good guys, helping you all the way. We never get in the way or intervene where we're not welcome. That's not what government does. It's hilarious. At the end of the day, it all comes down to sales, doesn't it? So the first doses are already on the way to the UK with 800,000 due in the coming days, Pfizer said. Health Secretary Matt Hancock said the NHS will contact people about jabs. Elderly people in care homes and care home staff have been placed top of the priority list, followed by over 80s and health and care staff. However, seeing as needs to be kept at negative 70 degrees Celsius, and it's being transported in dry ice containers, and seeing that a lot of the care homes in Wales, they pointed out, can't store it for this long because it can only be stored for a few days, and when it's out of the fridge, it's got to be used in 6 hours. That, yeah, I mean, who knew that apparently this virus is it's so delicate that you have to do your best in order to keep it alive, otherwise it will just die. But we've got to protect ourselves against it. Yeah, I know it's the vaccine instead, but still, that's what they're saying. And of course, fear mongering. A further 648 deaths within 28 days of a positive COVID-19 test were recorded in the UK on Wednesday. Right. But it is nice to see that they're no longer saying they died from COVID-19. It's always interesting to see how the reporting changes. It's similar to the allegations of voter fraud in the US, that it's unsubstantiated claims. There's no evidence of fraud. And now it's, there's no new evidence, and of widespread voter fraud that would have changed the result of the election. So, okay, I see you've changed your tune now. Are you going to make your earlier articles retracted? No, of course you're not. You're just going to try and keep up and just ever so slightly change the phrasing in order to make sure that you're correct at the time. It's hilarious. Yeah, and the more cases reported, but again, who cares? The more cases are reported just to increase the death count, essentially, so that when people die, they can say, well, you had a test 28 days ago, and of course it was positive, so let's all be scared then. Let's all be scared. But who gets it first? Well, let's just scroll down so we can clear that up. The first phase of the program. So, residents in a care home for older adults and their carers, then all those 80 years of age and over, frontline health and social care workers, then 75 and over, then 70 and over, and clinically extreme vulnerable individuals, then 65 and over, then 16 to 64 with underlying health conditions which put them at higher risk of serious disease and mortality, then 60 and over, then 55 and over, then 50 and over, and then the second phase will just be, if you want it, you've got it, but apparently not mandatory. And also, you cannot buy your way to the front of the queue. So, this is always the case with socialised medicine, or any government-run entity, essentially, that unless there's corruption, which obviously there is in government, and we've seen that with the whole debacle and shenanigans going on about purchasing PPE equipment and then who's getting paid, and it's a very lucrative endeavour to be in, and the real people laughing at the companies like Pfizer getting paid a shit ton of money for their vaccines, of course, and that's the hilarious bit, costing about 15 quid a piece. So the guy brokering that deal is going to be laughing all the way to the bank when he's allowed in the bank. But if this is something that you're really terrified about, this virus, and you're like, well, shit, okay, and also I've been working my ass off, so now I'm a bit worn down, and so now I feel like I'm at risk and I'm really terrified of it. Well, hey, I've been paying into the system for a long time, so I'd like to reap the rewards. Cool, yeah, I'd like to purchase it, please. I will have it. I'm more than happy to pay for it. No worries. Please let me have it because I'm terrified otherwise. The government then says, no, you can't have it. I was like, hang on, so I can afford it. It's available. I should be able to buy it. And you're saying no. This is just another example of death panels, essentially. If you're concerned about coronavirus, then it is a death panel saying, no, you'll get your turn and we'll decide. So, well, yeah, but I could be dead then. Well, that's a shame, isn't it? You should have thought about that earlier. What could I have done? You could have been younger. How? But that's what they're saying. But don't worry, it's okay, because government knows best, as they've clearly proven time and time again. They're definitely going to get it right this time. So don't worry, all those other times, that was just misfortune and bad luck. But they know what they're doing now. Definitely. But what's nice about this is that, of course, it pisses off both sides. The side saying, we don't want it, and the side saying, we need it. It just annoys everyone. Good job, government. Good job. Can people be responsible for their own actions? No, of course not. Of course they can't. So the UK has already ordered 40 million doses of the jab, enough to vaccinate 20 million people, because you need it twice, essentially. But they do say the Pfizer-BioNTech jab is the fastest vaccine to go from concept to reality, taking only 10 months to follow the same steps that normally span 10 years. So, oh wow. A bit concerned about that. What are the long-lasting effects of this vaccine then? If I get it, two years down the road, 2 years down the line, whatever, am I going to have any problems? Maybe infertility problems? What have we seen that happens a few years later? We don't know. We haven't been able to test it like that yet. Okay. So we'll wait until then before we say it's safe. No, it's safe now, but you don't know the long-term ramifications of it. No. Okay, but then I'm a bit more cautious about this. If they normally span 10 years, and long-time viewers of my channel will know, I am a big fan of vaccines. I think that they're brilliant. They really, really are. Just the science behind it, you can turn a deadly disease into, just a bit of a cough. They're fantastic. Like the MMR vaccinations. I'm on board with them. But, of course, there's a big difference in how they've been tested and gone through compared to this one. I said, okay, I don't want to be one of the first to get it. I'd rather wait. And can I be responsible for my own actions to say, if I do choose to not be vaccinated, and then I catch the virus later on, that's my fault. Yeah, I'm allowed that decision because I should be. And I know it gets difficult then when you're talking about children and you're saying, well, if what about for things like polio, measles, mumps, that kind of thing. So, well, okay, then as a child, it comes down to the parents, and the child doesn't get to decide, which is very unfortunate, but children can't consent, no matter what the transgender lobby might wish to say to the contrary. But the analysis in this is not concerned with that whatsoever, of course. So, just to wrap up. While Mr. Hancock said that the government does not yet know how many people need to be vaccinated before restrictions can start being lifted, he added, I'm confident now with the news today that from spring, from Easter onwards, things are going to be better, and we're going to have a summer next year that everybody can enjoy. Prime Minister Boris Johnson added, it's the protection of vaccines that will ultimately allow us to reclaim our lives and get the economy moving again. And why do they always phrase it like this? I mean, sure, it's to try and give them with legitimacy and cast all blame aside. But it's not the vaccine that is going to allow us to reclaim our lives and get the economy moving again. It's you, Mr. Johnson, Mr. Hancock. It's down to you. You're the ones making those decisions, aren't you? So we're trying to say that it's not a centrally planned economy, because that's what it seems to be. Because you're saying, yeah, well, this is a necessary business. This is vital. This is an essential place of work. So okay, cool. Why? So because the government says so. So okay. So now you're deciding where the scarce resources go. You're trying to predict the future and know what people will want. That's a centrally planned economy. I thought we voted in Conservative so that this wouldn't happen. But that's what they've decided. And they're just trying to say, oh, it's all down to the vaccine now, and it's the virus, it's definitely not us. Bullshit. 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 Why don't you just be honest? If you want power that much, just be honest with it. And say, we're not going to let you return to your normal lives until these criteria have been met. And say, yeah, we're going to withhold your freedoms from you until, this proportion of the population be vaccinated. Why aren't you honest about that? Why not? And if you're trying to say, yeah, at that point, when the people are vaccinated that want to be vaccinated, we can go back to work as normal. So, well, if you're still leaving that choice in there, and you bloody well should be, then why don't you make that clear now? And say, if you don't want to go out and interact with people until you're vaccinated, then don't. But if you would like to go out with people because you're not interested in being vaccinated, then go do that. Why can't we have that now? The only response I hear is, got to protect the NHS. Well, the NHS is always understaffed, underfunded, and all that shit. That's what happens. Government-run monopolies, always. But just say it now. Just say it now. Because what's going to change? If you have a big pushback and people don't wish to get vaccinated, and then, the NHS is going to be overrun, what then? Or you're going to say, you weren't vaccinated, therefore you're not allowed treatment. So I'll pay for it. No, I think you've forgotten how this works. We decide who lives and dies, and your life isn't worth saving. So your head's for the chop. Bye-bye. Is that what's going to happen? In that case, can we just make a list now and say, I don't wish to get vaccinated. Cool. So seeing as you know that, I'm going to go out now. I'm going to live my life normally because I don't wish to be vaccinated. And if it's like, oh yeah, I want to be vaccinated and I'm not going out until I get vaccinated, cool, that's your decision. Stay at home. It's the same debate that we had before. What is going to be different this time around? That's what I want to know. What's going to make them say, yeah, now that there's a vaccine here, you're allowed out? So, well, what's fucking well changed? The people who don't want to go out won't go out. The people who want the vaccine will get the vaccine. And the people who want to go out without a vaccine will go out without a vaccine. Like we've been saying for months. But it's clear. It's clear. Even a so-called conservative government doesn't really seem to give a shit about what the people want. It's just top-down control the whole way. It's just a different colour tie, I suppose. But that's it for me. So let me know what you guys think down below. Always intrigued to hear what you guys have to say. At what point will we actually get back to normal? At what point will they return the freedoms that we are owed? That we deserve? Our God-given rights? Let me know what you think. Always intrigued to hear what you guys have to say. And until next time, have a good one.